Okay. Hey sisters, it's Donna. Well, we're going to have our first visitor. I'll say that. We'll have our first visitor. And the title is Don't Judge Me Until You Know My Story. So we will not use real names. But the reason for this interview is every woman has a story. And every woman says, oh, I would leave if he cheats, or I would leave if he do this, I would leave if he do that. And I know a lot of girls judge when a girl stays in a situation, and you really don't know what you would do until you are in that situation. So we are going to be with Gia today. We're going to call her Gia. So here we go. If you have anything to say, any comments, let the comments be nice and let it be encouraging, because if not, it'll be deleted. So the first thing, I guess I want to start and say, how did you meet? How did you meet your spouse or your ex?
My ex I met when we was teenagers. We grew up together out in Shively, and we grew apart and then came back together as a one-night stand that turned into more.
Okay. See, some girls say one-night stands don't last, but hey, I say we all grown. Some people have sex the first night, some have it the next week, and some people, hey, it's just meant to be. Did y'all have kids together?
Yes, we have one child together.
And how many kids do you have other than the one?
I have 5 altogether.
Okay, so when he was in the kid's life, did he present himself as a father? Was he loving? Was he romantic towards you? Kind of tell a little bit about why you stayed with him in the beginning. We started in the beginning now. Everybody has that romance stage. So
yeah, in the beginning, everything was sweet and romantic, and he would do stuff to make me smile or make me laugh, or take care of this bill or take care of that bill, or handle this business or handle that business. And then as years went on, things started to change.
I guess I'll say like I said, everybody has a honeymoon stage when you get with the person. At what point did the honeymoon stage start to change? Was it years, weeks? What time frame did it start to change?
Years.
It took years.
Yeah.
So, with him, I do know that he was at one point locked up and stuff. So did you hold him down? Talk to the ladies.
Yes,
tell us.
When I say I held him down, I had to make a 6-hour drive to go see him every other weekend, put money on his books, put money and time on the phone. I had to pay people sometimes to take me because my car was acting funny. And after he got out, it was like, oh, okay, well, this is what it is, and it really wasn't what I thought it was.
So did he appreciate that? The long drives and putting money on his book and all that?
No, he did not appreciate that, not at all.
Because from a lot of women tell me that, I've not dated anybody inside of jail or prison, but they tell me when they get out, it's just kind of they feel like they use them to kind of support them through prison or jail. Did you feel like that when you got out, or when he got out, or was it still some sense of, I want to be with him because he treats me, good?
It was, he was treating me good. He just used to do sneaky and manipulative things that I didn't like or care for.
Okay, so what was mention kind of talk about the first time that he hurt you. What's the first time he hurt you and you were like, I'm done, but you still stayed anyway? Because I think a lot of women have that problem where we say we will not let a man disrespect us. We won't let a man do certain things, and then you get to falling in love with him and you do some things that you normally wouldn't do.
You're right about that. No, the first incident was when he got me kicked off Section 8. And I was like, I was done. I had nowhere to go, nowhere to live. Me and my children.
Okay, now continue what you were saying about the.
I was saying that he had got me and my kids kicked off Section 8, and it's smack dead in the middle of winter. I had nowhere to go, sleeping in a SUV with the back windshield busted out, and it's snow and ice on the ground, and I had to stay woke because I had to make sure that my kids were safe.
So where was your family at this time? Like, where was your mother and your aunts and stuff like that? Because I know at a time when I was going through, I was ashamed to talk to my family. I was kind of ashamed, because they had already told me about this person, and they told me about him. So I was like, I don't want people judging me. So, like, where was the family while you were going through this?
Well, my mother had passed away. Yeah, she had just passed away. And I didn't want to go to my family because I didn't want them to judge me and be like, oh, you stupid, we told you to leave him a long time ago. And I was already embarrassed because me and my kids was homeless.
Right. So how did you get past that stage of homelessness? And did you take him with you? Like, a lot of women say, if he got me kicked out, I would just leave. I'm not tolerating that. Did y'all ever split up at that point? Or what happened after the homelessness?
Nope. He didn't even know that me and the kids was homeless until like 2 months afterwards.
Why not? I mean, did he leave once you got kicked out?
I wasn't talking to him because I felt like he should have been there and he should have showed up for that meeting.
Oh,
okay. If he would have showed up for the meeting, then I would have never lost my Section 8.
Right.
But to each is his own, and you live and you learn.
Right.
God taught me that I was going to have to stand on my own 2 feet. And with God, I had no other choice. I had children. I had to learn how to stand on my own 2 feet.
So at this time, your mom had already passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because I remember, like, she was your rock. Yeah. And I know when God kind of takes your rock home, it's like, where do you go from there? Who do you reach out to and stuff? So yeah. At what point did y'all come back together? How long did it take to come back together after that?
2 months, but then it was so much like sneaky and manipulative going on his behalf. And
here's the question I want to interrupt. Like, what made you feel like something sneaky was going on? Every woman has this intuition. I know I get the feeling some kind of way. What made you think he was doing something sneaky?
Well, for one, I had an intuition. For two, he was like, I want to test our son. And I'm like, I don't have no reason to lie to you. I'm not out here doing what you doing in the streets. I don't hang out in the streets, so what you do in the streets supposedly is your business until you bring it in front of me and flaunt it. So he quote unquote broke down and was crying, and he was like, I'm sorry, baby, I love you, I don't ever want to lose you, but I got another chick pregnant, and I'm just gonna have that baby tested and our son tested at the same time.
So because he made his mistake on getting somebody pregnant, then he wanted to test you too?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, a lot of men do that. They make you seem like you're wrong. Like, they're the ones that cheated. But, sometimes men will have you thinking, wow, did I slip on somebody? Did I slip on somebody? Did I sleep with another man and don't know about it? They'll get you to thinking you're crazy when you know you're not. So you gave him the blood test?
Yep, the DNA test came back 99.99.
It was like he already knew.
He already knew.
Right.
I don't understand why men do that.
So after he did that, what made you go back and be with him after he got somebody pregnant? Because I know that's something hard for a lot of women to move past. Like, that's a lot of women's deal breakers. What made you stay? I mean, I know you're a good person, kind-hearted, but what made you stay?
Honestly, because I loved him and I was in love with him. But I honestly don't think that he was in love with me and loved me the way that I loved him, because he didn't return that love.
Yeah. So what was it like when he first had the child? Like, how did you feel when he first brought the child around you, knowing that this is somebody else's baby that he made?
I was hurt because I was pregnant, but we got into an altercation and he hit me with the truck, and I didn't even know I was pregnant until I got to the hospital, and they was like, I was 8 weeks, and I was like, what? But like I said, the baby was innocent. She didn't ask to be here.
Right.
She didn't ask to be put in the middle of it. And truthfully, he didn't have her. I did.
Right, right. Because, yeah, most of the women end up raising the child anyway. So after you'd have been through, you waited for him in prison. You took care of him, loved him, and did all that. And then he has this child. And you love the child. And I understand that because I have a heart for kids. And it's like, you cannot just leave them hanging. But what happened after that? Did he start to show more appreciation? Did he love you more? Like, what happened after the baby?
After the baby, everything was like good for the first year. Well, until, he had already proposed. But when he put the ring on my finger, I was like, okay, well, maybe this can go somewhere. And
When he put the ring on your finger, you said before that things were okay. Like,
He was working.
could you see yourself with him for the rest of your life? Is that why you married him?
yeah, because I seen us growing old together, me picking his dentures up when they fall out his mouth. We sitting on the porch and rocking chairs, looking at all the grandkids and great grandkids.
And I think we all have that vision where when you get married, most women don't get married just to get divorced. But, what happens when that vision starts to fall? Like, when you start having problems in your marriage and stuff like that, what happened? Like, how did you feel as a woman? And how did you get through that feeling, when things started to fall apart? Because I know right now you are going through separation.
Well, all I could do was, and I learned that the hard way, I just started picking up my Bible and reading more, because I felt like for some reason I felt like I let him down, I let myself down, I let my children down, like I let my family down. And like I thought God was really disappointed in me.
And that's another thing we struggle with. I think as women, sometimes some churches, like, back in the day they taught us, you stay with the man. God doesn't like divorce. And, I went through that feeling too of, am I letting God down? So at what point did you feel like it was okay? Like God is not mad at me? Or do you feel that way now?
I feel that way now. It took for me to get away from him and all his toxic and negativity and abuse. And
so how old was the child when y'all split up? Like the child that he had with somebody else, how old was she when y'all split up?
she was 6.
So 6 years, of raising a child, loving that child, and really being the mother to that child. How does that make you feel now? Because I don't think you don't have a relationship with her like you had, due to him. So, talk about that.
Well, I know she's doing okay. She's not doing her best because where she's at, they don't know how to work with her. They don't know how to deal with her. They don't know how to handle her. They don't really know her likes and dislikes. And she reaches out every now and then. I reach out, through her brother, of course.
Oh, well, that's good. That is good that she got some kind of contact. So you have the other kids. How did your other kids deal with you going through all the stuff that you were going through? Because, sometimes kids can, it's kind of like they know they can feel a person before we feel them. Or they see mama going through some stuff, so, the kids get into it with them and all that. Like kind of talk about the in-between, between him having that child and y'all getting married and to where you are now. Talk about some of the things that you endured as a woman that brought you to the point you are today.
I endured fighting. I endured him being shot, being selfish. Like, I should have been there for him. And I was like, I mean, my kids was tired of seeing me hurt and unhappy and depressed and stressed out, and her falling out, weight up and down, me not being myself, because I'm like really fun and outgoing, and I mean, he brought me all the way down, like literally. I felt lower than beyond low itself. I felt like I wasn't worthy.
And when somebody makes you feel like you're not worthy, I mean, did you end up going through depression about it, or did you drink? Like, I know a lot of people don't realize, and me neither. It's like when you're going through a whole lot, you probably pick up the bottle more, or you start to try to find other outlets. Like, what way did you handle? I know you read the Bible and you read the Word, and I think sometimes that's easier said than done. Like, you can read the Word and stuff, but what did you do to get past it?
That, and I try not to be in the house with him as much.
Right.
And yeah, I picked up the bottle, but it wasn't like a everyday thing. Have wine here. I might have some Parmesan there, a little E&J here, a little wine there, a little gin here, a little vodka there. Go out to just drink.
Yeah. And I did that. I found myself sitting down the street waiting for my husband to go to work before I would go back in the house, because I just was like, I don't have no peace. Or I just sit in the garage and wait for him to fall asleep before going back in the house. So when you said you were leaving, what made you leave? What made you get to that point where you were like, I'm tired? Because you had already endured so much. There was the breakups and then the going back and the fighting and going back and, him keep cheating and stuff, but you're going back. Love made you stay, but what was it that made you leave?
Because I realized he don't love me the way that I loved him. He was not in love with me the way that I was in love with him. He messed with my self-esteem in my head so bad. But what put the icing on the cake is when I asked him to help me with the rent. $300 for the rent, not to pay my car note, not to pay the LG&E or the water or the internet and cable. $300 to cover the rent, and you told me you're not helping me do a motherfucking thing. So that let me know right there. You said fuck me and fuck my kids, and I'd be damned if I was gonna be homeless again. So that was it. That was my breaking point, and. If you can't be a man of your word, or at least try, then what good is it going to do for me to keep sticking it out?
And I think that's a lot of us, though. A lot of women, men always say, well, what made you want to leave now? It's just like there comes a breaking point, like when you literally mentally break and physically break. And, I'm hearing you, and it's just like I remember myself. I got to the point where I would wake up throwing up every day and, having headaches and just feeling sick every day. And I'm like, he is literally killing me.
Yep.
So when you decided to leave, did it hurt? Like a lot of people, I know it hurt, like that's kind of a dumb question, but did it hurt more to leave or did it hurt more to stay? Because I feel like so much damage happens when you're with a man who tears you down versus leaving. Like, there's those crying days and stuff. It's going to be hard when you leave, but what did you feel once you left?
I was hurt. I cried some nights. Sometimes I was sad. But at the end of the day, I had to put my kids first.
Yeah.
And then I had a grandbaby on the way, which I wanted to be there for. So I did what I had to do. And obviously, he thought he had me wrapped around his fingers like I would never leave. But enough was enough. And, he kept kicking in the door. And I was tired. Tired of the fighting. Tired of the cheating. Tired of the lying. Tired of being manipulative and sneaky. And I had enough.
So did you find, like when you were in the midst of that, you said it like broke you, did you find yourself again after you left him, and how did you find yourself? After you prayed and stuff, what steps did you take? Like me, I get up in the morning, I have to tell myself, I'm worthy and stuff, and, I'll go, spend time somewhere, go for a walk in the park, go to the gym. Like, what did you do to get to the steps of not forgetting about him, but healing?
Okay, because the sight of him, I'm not even gonna lie, right now he makes me sick. It's so much that I really want to do to him. I really want to be vindictive, but at the end of the day, the Lord said, vengeance is not mine, it's his. But I get up and I read my Bible. I get ready for work. Well, at the time I didn't have a job. I was living with my son, but I would get up, clean up, make sure they all had breakfast, and then, one day at a time.
I think that it helps too to be around people
That love
that love you and genuinely have your best interests at heart. Like, at this point now, where would you say you're at with that? Like, as far as him, because I know I'm still going through the divorce stage, and if my ex calls from these odd numbers or whatever, I want to basically cuss him out and, do that and that. But I'm just like, I have to hang this, I'm hanging this phone. And once I hear your voice, I'm hanging up. Where do you have like a peace in your heart about that? And are you going to move forward with divorce? Is there a chance of going back?
Oh no, I'm not going back. Oh no. Whenever the courts decide they want to open, which I'm going to divorce anyway because I want to live my best life. I like to travel. I like to do things.
Right. Has the coronavirus stopped anything, or did it have any kind of effect on, the whole situation at hand? Has it stopped you in any kind of way? Because I know that's another concern. People are, I think like me being in the house with my ex, it's like a make or break me type thing when you're quarantined with somebody, because you really start to see who they are. Like, was he harassing you? Did he call you? Did he,
he was calling. He was calling me. He had different females calling my phone. I changed my number. And I don't care about his mama and his sister being mad at me, because now they can deal with him and his irresponsible ass, and I'm done. I'm over the whole situation. And I know some people be like, I do wish him the best of luck, because he's gonna need it. But when you do wrong, God don't like ugly.
And he ain't that fond of cute. I tell people, you get it no matter how you look, how you act, who you are. What can you tell women? Because there will be women who click on this page and they'll see themselves in your story, and they may be going through and still be in a relationship with a guy and they can't find the strength to leave, but it's tearing them apart. What would you tell a woman who's sitting right there right now listening in your place, but she hasn't left yet, or either she has left and she's thinking about going back because she feels too weak to stay away?
First of all, you need to sit down and get on your knees, pray, because I didn't want to, but I prayed and prayed and prayed, and God was like, that's enough. He said, I'm answering your prayers, go. Mm-hmm. So I left. Sometimes you just have to, and I find myself picking up my Bible, more than what I used to. And then being around people that actually care about you. People that actually care about you, that actually love you, who don't mistreat you, who don't try to use you. Be around those who brighten your day, make you smile. Your children always entertain you.
Yeah.
They do the craziest thing.
And I feel like if you don't have kids, get around some family. If you don't have family, get around your friends. Like, you've got to have some kind of outlet. So on a good note, look, do you think that you will do you think this has changed you? Like, as a woman, has this changed you where you won't trust again? Or have you given up on love, or do you still believe that love exists? And I know, as crazy as it may be, I believe that God has somebody for me. I've made mistakes, with the men that I chose, but I think that God has somebody for me. Do you feel like love still exists?
Yes, and I think that was my biggest mistake, because I chose him. He didn't choose me.
Right.
But I don't know. I do feel like love is still out there. And God's going to bring it to me.
That's right. So at the end of this conversation, that's ending this conversation, but to any women, and you heard Gia, she said it, it's like, get around somebody who loves you. And at the same time, learn to love yourself. Yeah. Reach for the word. And even if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, whoever it is that you serve, get under that umbrella. And, sometimes God puts us by ourselves, and he gets us away from certain situations so that we can hear him clear. without hearing him clear, we're going to be in that constant state of of a cycle. We're going to want to hear people. We'll talk people's head off. You know, we'll call our girlfriends and stuff and tell them what's wrong. But until you are ready to leave, and until God has spoken to you and you've heard him and opened your doors to him, you're going to stay and you're going to continue to go through those things. But right now, if you are listening and this is you and you're in a situation where you're just existing, but y'all can't stand each other, there's fighting in front of the kids and all that stuff, like, it's time to go. Because your kids will suffer more being in a situation where they see you being hurt. And then, you know, they're all nervous and stuff because they're used to yelling around them. I just say to learn to love yourself. And until you love yourself, it's going to be impossible for anybody else to love you or even to know how to love you. Because you have to know what you want and don't want before you can bring somebody else into that equation. Okay? To my sisters,